Hey, Bubba. Can you hear me and see me? I think there's a lag. Okay. I think there's a lag. It's got me thrown off. Hey, Aaron. How are you? I put it in the title. I mean, I'm not sure how this works because you have to set something up on YouTube and then you have to set it up on this OBS encoder thing. So I never know if the title shows up. Hi, Angela. How are you, honey? How's that baby? Hey, Ron. Hey, Doc. Hi, CJ. Just had to make sure I put Spackle free. Warned y'all. But it's Friday night. Hey, Plotsky. Alabama. Oh, I'm glad, Angela. She was cranky earlier. Yeah, definitely. Definitely impromptu, CJ. I was like, what do you mean 8 minutes? 8 minutes? First you come on and say you're going to be late, and then it's only 8 minutes? This is my Friday night, man. The last hurrah, so to speak. My nose is itching. 7-minute abs. What movie was that from, CJ? Bubba, 10 p.m. Eastern? Oh, no, Angela. Hey, Joe. Oh, my gosh, and you caught me on Spackle Free Night. Yes, that's what it is. Something about Mary. Oh, my goodness. Jedi's mom. Girl. I didn't even know you knew I had a channel. But yeah, I think you posted once, didn't you? It's 1 minute better. Right, Aaron. Oh my gosh, 7-minute abs. And when you got those implant, those teeth. Oh, really, Ron? Well, if I had a choice to have to work on Saturday and that meant I could get out of having to go to the office next week, I'd take it. Yeah, you could say that again, Bubba. Good heavens. Although we should be grateful when we have jobs. A lot of folks struggle. But we still have to grumble. Brad, you're up late. Well, I forget, you're in Oklahoma, Brad. But good evening to you. How's Ranger Dog, Brad? And did you get your post office box yet? The world wants to know. Because I'm getting, I found there's a post office right down the road. And I actually found out that it's only going to cost $70 a year to have a P.O. box at that one. The other the other location was more expensive for whatever reason. So I may go ahead and get one myself. Just so when folks ask me for a P.O. box to send stickers and stuff, I don't have to worry about doxing. Hey, Brad, what part of Oklahoma are you in? I was always curious about that. You didn't get a real lunch. Oh, you're in Oklahoma City. Okay. I was wondering. 2J, do you follow Brad, his channel? Because I know you're a Volkswagen enthusiast yourself. And everybody, 2J and I, 2 Jedi's mom and I go way back. She's awesome. Really beyond awesome. Inspiring. Really, Aaron? Good grief. You need to get an RV, I'm telling you. You and your wife. Too much moving. Oh, cool, 2J. Yes, Brad, no pressure. We're just, you know, folks are eager to send you love via post. Hey, Doc. And Doc, you drove, what, 650 miles today? Thanks, Joe. I always forget. Like, share, subscribe. I know. I think, Bubba, everybody waits till after Mark's live stream to put everything, because I know folks are online at that time. Yeah, that would be cool, Brad, right? Have Bottomo come. He needs to get a bunch of red cow stickers and just stick one on the back. Wow, Doc. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. That's a long... 275 more miles to go, are you saying? Or 275 something else to go? I know. Everybody needs to send Brad stickers so he could plaster the bus with them. And then he could charge you for the advertising. Yes, 2J, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. You never know when you step out that door. If you don't watch your feet. Love you, honey. Oh, wow. Okay, so yeah, Doc, that means that you're going a little slower. Bye, 2J. Love you back. Brad, you better be careful saying that. Anyone's welcome to put their sticker on the old VW bus. Camo Dave, you'll wake up in the morning, Camo Dave will be there, and he'll be covering every square inch with his. He's got like 3 or 4 different kinds of stickers, so it'll be... Ranger might get mad with all the tanky poos all over it. Yeah, Chryslers make nice touring cars. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't knoweth. Bubba, full of tanky poo. Seems like Dave barely shows his tank anymore. I don't know what's going on. They stuck him in the dungeon. They kicked him out of his room and they stuck him in the dungeon. He's not allowed to play with the dog anymore. It's like, what did you do, Dave? What'd you do? Okay, I'm gonna just, I have to, no, Chewy was fine after about an hour, Larry. And nice to see you, by the way. He was fine after it. Yeah, he did, Bubba, for a minute. For a minute he did. But, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna talk about that. Was I the only one? I never went back to that Daily Woo that got posted today to see if anybody else was like grossed out that Adam put out those hats and that mask on. I'm like, can you imagine The amount of people that have put that on, you really think that stuff's sterilized? Don't worry, Angela. I have to stream hop all the time. Seems like when one person goes, it's like a domino effect. Everybody goes live. Everybody should check out Angela, too. You should all check out each other if you're not already subbed to each other. Hey, Troy. I was hoping you'd come. Yeah, Bubba, I know. Well, Ron, I can't blame you. I know. Yeah. Well, I was grossed out when he laid on the ground with Justin Scard on the Minnie Mouse star. I thought that was gross. And then I figured, Doc, he is, but, you know, I'm just thinking, like, in the moment, you're like, oh, look, there's a cool hat, and you put it on your head, and you're not thinking at the moment about 6,000 people have worn that hat, and, you know, or that, to me, the mask was the grossest, because the mouth, man, it's the whole mouth thing. You know, kids put it on, they're probably sticking their tongue through the mouth, and you're like, hey, let me put this on. Gross. I can't. I just can't. If Adam ever gets a P.O. box, I'm going to send him one of those travel Lysols and be like, please, please, for the love of all that's holy, spray some stuff before. All right, Bubba. Good night, honey. Yeah, Doc. Tell me it doesn't hurt anybody. When Allie was in, what, 5th or 6th grade, I had to deal with it all summer long until we found out who the, what do they call it, patient zero was. Bottomo! No, I don't want to see. I don't want to see. I don't. Some things are better left ignorant. I'd like Dan Bell to go to that wax museum and put a black light on some of that stuff. Just to prove me right that that stuff's the nasty. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Angela. Oh yeah, over on Happy Cart Vlog, she posted her she went to go get what does she call them? Jellies, the little gummy candies. And I'm just, the whole time, I'm looking at it going, but anybody can walk by there. They have some of those, like, the little things are on the floor practically. I'm like, no, dude. No. People walk in there, step on turds, and then come walking through there, kicking up their turd stuff up in the gummies, and then you're like, delicious. Oh my gosh, Doc. You should be filming and do like a parody of Another Dirty Room. Oh, man. What's up, Gas Nation? Oh, my gosh. Girl, I saw that video with the wax. Oh, la. That's so wrong. I gotta hand it to him, man. That's bravery to go there and just say, here, just put wax on my face and rip it off. Oh, no. Speaking of which, I'm going to do that tomorrow. Gotta rip my face off before I go to Georgia. Doc, I'm serious, man. Just do like a dirty room, make the camera all shaky, you know? Use your phone, like your phone's flashlight. Pretend it's a black light. Pull a couple hairs out of your head and just sprinkle them. I bet he won't. I bet he won't, girl. No way. You had to get, like I said, you get those little linen strips that they use. You kidding? If I go somewhere and they're like, yeah, we're going to put the wax and then just peel it off like that, I'll be, oh no. You better get that little cloth. Doc. Look around. You'll find some. That reminds me of a funny story. One time I was going down to Miami for a wedding. One of my nieces was getting married. And we stayed at a hotel in Georgia, in Brunswick. And it was so funny because my sister-in-law was traveling right behind me. And when she got to Miami, she said, man, I stayed at this hotel. It was so disgusting. There was hair in the tub. And I said, oh my gosh, what hotel? And not only was she at the same hotel, she was in the same room. And I said, well, if it's any comfort, it was my hair in the tub. Oh, man. I told her it was clean when I got in there. Hard wax? I don't know. Isn't that like that, what's that stuff from Australia? Like Nads? It's got that really poorly named Nads or whatever. And supposedly you're supposed to use it over and over again. Ooh, that's disgusting. It never took off. I haven't seen it on the shelves since. People buy wax. Okay, picture this. You buy the wax, you put it on your face, right, or wherever, and you rip off your hair. And then you put it in a ball, put it back in the jar, and then stop, Doc. Eating the soap. Oh my gosh. See, that you could do it. That's it. Take a, pretend you're eating soap and everything. Right, gas. And then the Nads is that harder wax, and then you're supposed to just take it back out next time you need it with the hair in it and everything. You warm it up in your hands and just go to oh man, no, that's so gross. Exactly, Larry. I'm like, when I saw the name, I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work here. Nobody's going to be like, I used Nads on my face. I mean, it just, no. Yeah, exactly, Troy. No. First, it was poorly named, and second, I mean, no one's going to reuse that. That's just gross. You know it, Aaron. Beauty is pain. And I had another friend of mine that she went on a cruise and she wanted to go get a Brazilian. And I told her, I said, well, I've never personally gotten one, but I have had a lot of friends that did, and I can tell you that's a very bad idea. Very bad idea. She didn't believe me. She went and she said she was miserable on the cruise because the whole time she was just in pain. Hey, Alma. Glad you made it. Yeah, you can, Gas. Go ahead. I mean, it's just a Friday night hangout. It's only been 18 minutes, and I usually try to stay on for 30 or so. Yes, Joe, that would be awesome. A Chewbacca, like that lady that was laughing, and oh, that was a great video. That one that went viral. Hey, Beauty, how are you? Oh, Beauty, I don't know if you caught it when I did it, but I bought the new Rimmel breathable foundation, and girl, don't even go there with that. It's the worst foundation you'll ever use. I mean, really bad. If you want to get it to review it on your channel, do it, but I'm telling you now, don't plan to go anywhere and expect it to look good. Oh, goodness gracious. I guess the only person we're missing is Mouty. Maybe I closed the door. And Anne, she hasn't shown up. No, unless, like I said, unless you want a review for your channel that, it's brand new. I mean, they just released it. Oye, Mouty. What's up, honey? Should we let you in again? Oh, good night, Ron. Thanks, Bottomo. I would have missed him leaving. It didn't go out, Alma? Well, no surprise there. I have to do it the weird way with the laptop and the fuzzy picture and everything. Hi, Nancy. Welcome. We're all just hanging out, chit-chatting. Oh, you wanted the black screen? I know, it would be better than the Spackle free. In bed with the espejuelos. Go for it, Angela. Sleep when that baby sleeps, girl. You know that. This ain't your first rodeo. Good night, baby. I know. Every time I say it, where's Mouty? Did someone lock the door? he walks in. I'm going to have to learn how to work this thing so I could do wrenches and stuff. Yep, you know it, Angela. Not the first one. And Lord willing, not the last. No, Mouty, you're not going to find any painted coconuts or cups of water under my bed. Mama, don't play. But I'll tell you what. Here's another story time thing for you guys. So when I was about 15, we were living in this house, and the neighbors were super, super weird. Like, you never saw them. They had a huge Rottweiler, and this is when Rottweilers first came out. You know, like, they were first popular, and the only people that had them were like, oh, you know, scary people. And they had all these Rottweilers and everything. Well, they had the one, I'm sorry. And, no, Doc, not the same. And so I went out in the backyard, and I was just kind of, you know, chilling out, getting sun. And I walked over to the fence line. You know, there was a chain link fence. And I love dogs. And I was just trying to, I felt sorry for him because he's always out there and nobody paid attention to him. And I went out there and I saw these coconuts by my fence. And they were painted. And I thought it was for decoration, right? So I picked one up. And my mom was in the kitchen with the window looking at the backyard. Oh my gosh, I heard her screaming from inside the house. Nada kaise coco! And she's like, boom, running out the back door and everything, screaming, drop it, drop it, drop it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? She's like, no, santeria, santeria. And I said, Mom, what are you talking about? And she's like, that's witchcraft. You don't touch it. I go, a painted coconut? She goes, no, you don't touch it. Where did you find it? And I told her to put it back. Okay, here's where I found it. So we go inside the house, and weird things started happening. You know, one day I walked into my bedroom, and I thought my little sister was sitting on the floor, and I was a teenager, so I walk and I go, get out of my room. And when I got to my bed, and my room wasn't very big, you know, it was like 4 steps, I sat on my bed, and there was nobody there. And so I got up and I walked over to my little sister's room and I said, were you just in my room? And she said, no. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, okay. And then I started thinking, I'm like, man, I could swear that the person was sitting there reading Dumbo. And I'll never forget, it was the little golden book, you know, the little, you know, like Petey Spot the puppy or whatever. But it was Dumbo. And then it occurred to me that I saw through this person to the page. And I was like, oh, man, wait a minute. What did I see? And then my brain started catching up. And I was like, oh, my gosh, did I just see a ghost? You know, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to flip out. Well, fast forward a month later. And I said, okay, had a sleepover. Yeah, Troy, I'm telling you, this is why I believe, you know, that stuff exists. I don't like it, but it exists. And I had a sleepover. And so we were all hanging out. And I had balloons taped where the ceiling and the wall meets, you know, right there in that little, you know, the little thing. I had balloons. And I started telling people the story about this ghost that I saw. And the balloons started to pop one by one in sequence, people. I promise you, in sequence. Freaked me out so bad, freaked out my friends so bad that, I mean, we did not sleep that night. Okay, so a week after that, I have 2 sisters, and my middle sister, she's less than a year younger than me, Kelly. So Kelly wakes me up in the middle of the night screaming. She's literally grabbing me, get out, get out. I was freaked out. And I was like, what's going on, what's going on? She goes, there's someone in your room. So I go running out of my room. We're screaming. My parents come out. My dad's got a bat, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm going, what is going on? Well, my sister had a dream but it wasn't really a dream. It was a waking dream. She said she heard a motorcycle, and she felt like the guy was riding the motorcycle in the attic, which right there didn't make sense. And she's like, well, I woke up, but I don't know if I was awake, and then the ceiling above me started to crack. And this guy fell through the ceiling. She said she felt like the plaster, the popcorn ceiling, everything falling on her face. And the guy was burned, charred black. And he bounced. She said she felt her bed bounce. And he started just spewing profanity. And he just got up and walked right to down the hall to my room. And she saw him turn and go into my room. And that's when she took off there to get me out of my room. I get goosebumps even thinking about it. I'm telling you, scary. I know, this was before Ghost Rider. And so she never slept in her bed again for the next like 6 months that we lived in the house. She never slept. She slept in the living room. And it got so bad, the activity got so bad in the house that when we would walk home from school, because we were latchkey kids, 80s kids, you know, our parents worked, we would have a key and we would just walk home from school and let ourselves in. We would not go in the house. We would sit in the front yard till my mom got home. We would not go in until one of our parents got home because we were that scared. We opened the door and the rocking chair in the living room would be going by itself. Music would be going by itself. And, you know, my parents never really caught any of this activity. It was always me and my sisters. Well, me and my one sister. And so I said, I've had enough. You know, I'm not going in there by myself because I don't feel like this is friendly. You know, this isn't like a nice thing. So the reason we left after 6 months was one night, I would say maybe 2 months before we moved, because it took about 2 months to sell. We were sitting, everybody was asleep in the house. And I was having a dream that I was sitting in a movie theater with my boyfriend at the time. And somebody was screaming, fire, fire, get out. And I told my boyfriend, you know, how cliche, you know, yelling fire in a crowded theater. And all of a sudden, my dad is in there waking me up saying, there's a fire next door, you have to get out. Yes, beauty, I know. And at the time, I wasn't even saved yet. And I got out of the house, you know, everybody got out. They said, we could not wake you guys up. The firefighters were freaking out because the house next door, the ones with the painted coconuts, apparently they were drug dealers, cocaine dealers. And what they had done in their brilliance was take a gas tank out of a car, and they created a hidden compartment in the gas tank to, you know, smuggle cocaine. And they closed the garage all the way, and the water heater in the garage was running on gas. So all the fumes of the gasoline built up to the point that it hit the pilot light, and the whole garage blew out. I know, Mouty, right? Typical, especially for the 80s. Scarface time. And the whole garage blew out. My bedroom window faced the wall of the garage. I slept through an explosion that woke up the entire neighborhood. And the firefighters said they banged on my window, on the doors, on everything. It took forever. We were the last family to get up, and we were right next door. So the house went up in flames, and it so happened that my mom was working at a photo developer. This is before the age of digital, and she got pictures of the inside of that house from the fire marshal, the investigation, because they were a client of the photo place she worked. And you want to talk about demons? These people had, their house was 100% just nothing but voodoo, to the point that they had, the one that left an impression on me, the picture that left an impression of me, on me, was they had a room with a Virgin Mary statue that was as tall as the ceiling, and in her arms was a dead, like a blackened dead Jesus. It was so bad that I let me tell you. So I just, after that, I believed that, you know, there's light and there's darkness, right? So everything has to balance. So, you know, darkness makes itself shown every day. Turn on the news. So I knew there was light. And that's where I turned from, you know, my ways, and I started walking towards the light and got saved a few years later. But, oh man, let me tell you, that'll leave an impression. Oh yeah, Alma, for sure. Yeah, Troy. And every time we drove by that house afterwards, I felt it was like the Amityville horror house. To me, that was my Amityville, that house. We were just like, and it was a beautiful house. It was so nice, and we each had our rooms, and the layout was great, and we had great times in that house. But once those people moved in next door, it went from one of the happiest places to something that I wanted to just run away from every day. I was just scared to death. Right. I know, Mowdy. I know. I was shocked. I was shocked. And my friend Annalise, she had found a chicken it was like the legs were tied and one of the eyes was plucked out, and she took it home because she had like a menagerie in her backyard of turtles and everything. And good night, Cass. And she brought it home, and her mom her mom freaked out so bad that she went, I guess, to a brujero to find out how to undo the curse of Annalise touching this chicken and carrying it and whatever. And Annalise said that she's taking a shower, and then all of a sudden she said she had just seen the movie Psycho, and then she said that she sees like a shadow coming on the other side of the shower curtain, and she's like, what? And she says she had her radio on, and she remembers it was that song, let's hear it for the boys, let's hear it for my man. And she's like jamming out. And next thing she knows, her mom rips open the shower curtain and starts hitting her with these palm leaves and dumping like perfume and flowers on her. And she's there butt naked in the shower getting beaten, and she's screaming. And her mom's like, "Dejo un despojo." So, man, let me tell you, that was the funniest thing. When she told me the next day, I died laughing. That was hilarious. Oh, Mowdy, man. My husband, when, his childhood home, where they lived in an intersection, which is, in Spanish they call it cuatro esquina, four corners. And I'm telling you, week after week, there was a Publix bag with a dead chicken in it in the middle of there. Because supposedly somebody has evil spirits and you put it in the chicken, you kill the chicken, and then you have to throw it in the intersection so that the spirit's confused and it doesn't know how to get back to the person. And I was like, man, I don't need that in my life. I don't need to be killing no chickens and Mowdy and Homestead. Yeah, man. I'm telling you. It's big business in Miami. And the last time I went down there, it was even worse. Mowdy, you're too funny. I know, Alma. I know. Crazy. I think every culture has its crazy, but that Santeria stuff just, I mean, you know it, Troy. You know it. You know it. I'm convinced that protected me and so much stuff in my life. Yeah, Larry. Big time. And you could see them in Miami. If you see somebody that's dressed all in white, like the men will be in white, like these white shirts and white pants and white shoes or whatever, they're actually like in training, I guess, to be a high priest in Santeria. Which is basically, it's voodoo mixed with Catholicism. It's like a hybrid of that. So that kind of stuff, let me tell you. Yeah, Doc, I bet she does. I mean, it's a culture thing where I just don't get it. Yeah, tidy whities too, Mowdy, I'm sure. They have to be like, but I don't know, man. That kind of stuff, I have a lot of respect for it. I don't play around with it. I've told my girls since they were little, if anyone around you is playing with a Ouija board, if anyone around you is playing with, candles and mirrors and things like, don't be involved in it. You can't, I mean, I said that stuff opens doors that you can't close. Yeah. Yeah. Santa Muerte. I've heard of that too, Alma. Yep, just stay away from it. Just stay away from it. I even told Jacob something like that once, that he was playing with something there, and I just said, you just stay away from that stuff. I mean, that's not even to play. You're playing with powers that you have no idea. That's like giving, you know, a 4-year-old keys to a Corvette. You don't know. You're not protected unless you're saved and you're, you know, somebody that has like I have a terrible memory. I'm a child of the 80s. Cannabis destroyed my memories. I mean, that's why I have my friend Annalise. She reminds me of everything. Pero, you know, I tell people all the time, you know, you don't play with that stuff, because you can't. I know a lot of people that thought it was a joke and stuff, and they went through hell to get out of it. You know, I don't play with that stuff. There's plenty of other ways to entertain yourself. Yeah, Doc. I mean, you know, I believe that there are, because like I said, if I hadn't seen one, hey guys, if I hadn't seen one with my own eyes, I wouldn't, you know, I'd probably be as big a cynic as anybody else. But I don't know. Yep. Yep, Alma. All the way, honey. Don't play jokes with that. Don't play around with that. It's not funny. You know, when I was, you know, a young teen, not even a teenager, I guess 10 or 11, like, isn't that the age where moms finally let you start spending the night at people's houses and stuff? You got that right, guys. But, you know, I would go to friends' house and they'd be playing with stuff like that. See, Doc, you have to put these stories out. And they would play with the Ouija boards and stuff, and they'd be like, come on, Ruthy, it's fun. I'm like, nope. Even when I was young, I was like, I never wanted to mess with that stuff, because my mom always told me. Said, you open the door, and you don't know what's coming in. It could tell you whatever it is. It could say, oh, yes, I'm your grandmother, or I'm your uncle, or, you know, I'm a famous person that passed away, but it's not. It's something else. Yeah, exactly, Doc. I mean, it's like I couldn't tell this story unless I actually did it on chat. Oh, yeah, my mom was right, Mowdy. Yep, you got that right, Troy. And it's the only protection. It's the only protection, because nothing could touch you. It can try, but it can't do anything to you. But, yep. That's why I tell people, you know, that's why a lot of these ghost hunters and stuff, you know, it's like you guys are playing with, you know, something that may not be what you think it is. Oh, this is the spirit of, you know, Anne Marie who lived here in 1800. No, dude, that's not the spirit of Anne Marie. That's some kind of evil thing that's lurking around pretending to be that. You got it, Gaz. Respect to you, babe. Keep doing them push-ups. But yeah, that's my big thing, is I've always told my girls that. And they tell their friends, which I'm very proud, especially Allie. She came home and told me she had friends that were talking about playing with Ouija boards, and she told them, you should not do that. You shouldn't even mess with those things, because if something comes through that means, you know, that means you harm, how are you going to get rid of it? Yeah, Doc, of course. He's a liar. No problem, guys. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch you do your push-ups, son. Hold you accountable. Yeah. And you know what, Alma? When I was young, I really loved, like, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, those kind of, like, I call them funny horror. Because they're so fake that it's funny, you know? But the kind of horror movies that are coming out now, I can't. They're way too, I don't know, to me, they're playing with stuff, you know what I mean? Like, it's all demonic. You know, what was that one that just came out that everybody was like, oh, Insidious. Dude, no way. The last one I watched, I think, was The Ring. When The Ring first came out. And I saw that, and it's, oh, no. No, I didn't see Annabelle. Actually, Allie went to go see Annabelle with a friend because, you know, she felt kind of pressured or whatever, and that turned her off for good. To the point that if we're watching TV and a movie trailer for a scary movie comes on, she wants me to mute it so she can close her eyes. Because it's all demonic now. There's no, like, scary, like, even Freddy Krueger, which he scared me, you know? I mean, Freddy. But he was funny, scary, you know what I mean? He would, like, okay, you're on the phone, and then his tongue comes out of the phone, you're you know, that kind of thing. Good night, Cass. And then Jason, you know, you'd set him on fire, you can drown him, you can, you know, hit him with a baseball bat, and he'd just keep coming. You know that's fake. But when you're talking spiritual stuff, what was that other movie? The one that they did like 100 different sequels to, Coño. Right. Yeah, I know, Aaron. It's a Raggedy Ann doll. They have it in like a glass case or whatever. And right, Mouty. And I was like, what's that noise? Let me go to the basement by myself without a flashlight. You know, you had to laugh. You know, and they were kind of meant tongue-in-cheek like that. They were scary, but not really scary. Yeah. It's like, that's why people laugh with Jason and, you know, Freddy, especially. Like, Freddy took it to the next level of comedy. Because everybody else was just funny. But then Freddy, like, he wore his funny, you know? He wore his funny to where it was like, all right. Stretch my legs out. You said Stretch Armstrong, and Alma, my legs are like, yeah, stretch. But yeah, what was that one? The one where they were, like, the first one, it had the couple, and everything was like the security cameras in the house. What was it called? Something, was it Paranormal Activity? The name of the movie? Or whatever, that's something like, yeah, I know, Mouty, me too. But yeah, those kind of movies, everything just started going really, yeah, Paranormal Activity. Thank you, Troy. I mean, I saw a tiny bit of that. I was at somebody's house, and I was like, oh, no. Because that stuff's real, and you're, like, joking around about it. I mean, there's no guy living in a lake in a hockey mask. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, logically, there's not. Yeah, Alma, that was a scary movie, man. That Paranormal Activity, and I did not watch the whole thing, but what I did see, oh no. My husband was laughing at me, but even now, I believe it, Troy. It was scary, but to me it wasn't fun. See, I think that's the thing. Like, Friday the 13th was scary and fun. You know. Jaws was scary, but fun. All these kind of, like, horror, scary kind of things, they all had an element of fun to them. But these other ones, they're just straight up evil kind of movies. Maybe a frozen lake. Yeah, Mouty. You know, there's no... Wasn't that The Exorcist, Mouty? Yeah, Alma. That's what it is. It's terror. Yeah, Doc, because you bring that stuff home. And Troy, you know, my parents, when I was born into a Pentecostal church. My parents were Pentecostal. Of course, by the time I was like 6 or 7 years old, they had fallen away from the church. We weren't regular attenders anymore. And when we'd go, it was, you know, a Baptist church locally or whatever. But my dad, when The Exorcist came out, he was one of those people that was out there picketing against it. Because, you know, the church was so against The Exorcist coming out because it felt like it was exposing people to evil. And I'm like, you think that was bad? You look at the stuff that comes out now, I mean, sheesh. But yeah, Doc, you bring that stuff home. You know, some of these ghost hunters, when they retire, they talk about, you know, coming home from checking out a house or something like that, and something following them home. Oh, it was more recent, Mowdy? Gosh, I don't know. It would have to be maybe one of those Insidious types. One of those Insidious type movies, or The Ring, or... Oh, gosh, what was the name of it? That her real... Emily Rose. Wasn't it The Exorcism of Emily Rose, Mowdy? That was based on a true story? That the girl's real name was Annalise. That's why I remembered that one. Because my friend Annalise was like, oh, I don't want to make it a movie about the girl that had that name. But they called her Emily Rose in the movie. There was that one. They came out with a bunch of, like, exorcism movies around the same time. Like, they had The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and then they had this one about a little boy. And then after that, it was like all bets were off, and there was a free-for-all, and now it's just straight-on demonic stuff. And The Exorcist was scary, but I think its scariness was limited by the technology of the time. Yeah, Haunting in Connecticut, that was the other one. Yeah, I mean, all that kind of stuff. But, you know, like Exorcist, you know, the pea soup and everything else. I can't remember, Alma. I want to say it was a girl. I think the little boy was the Haunting in Connecticut. But all those things, you know, it's like you don't play with that stuff. You know, especially kids. Nope, it definitely killed her career, didn't it, Troy? She couldn't do anything after that besides what, Exorcist 2? And then any cameos that she played, it was always, you know, if she showed up in a movie, it was always like the joke of The Exorcist. Mowdy, hardy, har. I know, Alma. Reprende el demonio. But, what they say, what? Speak the truth and shame the devil. You know, at least most of us, we have our eyes open and we see it for what it is. Oh my gosh, Alma, do I have stories? Everybody who knows me, like in real life, says that I have to write a book. Because the things I've been through are like no other. Hey, Don. Yes, it will need a lot of cafecito. Mowdy, did I tell you? I made Cuban coffee and I took it to church on Wednesday. And all those people were like, oh, this is delicious. And one old lady, una viejita, she was like, oh, does this come in decaf? Yeah, the water part is decaffeinated. Kentucky Fried Rangers driving school. Attack of the Chickens. Por el amor de Dios. Attack of the Chewy, more like it. I know, Mowdy. I just smiled and laughed at her. And my, the associate pastor, the one that I told the story that he flipped some guy off and the guy called him out because he had a Real Men Love Jesus bumper sticker. He liked it. He was drinking it cold, and I was like, ooh. He's like, oh, it's really good, even cold. I'm like, oh, I can't drink it cold. And then I told him, see, it's not really good. I said it's not as good as it could be because you know how it is. You have to make the espumita with the sugar. And and by the time I got it to class, you know, the espumita had kind of, you know, fizzled out to where when you were pouring, it was just the black coffee. And yeah, he was #1. And I said, no, you have to, you know, I said, but for me to do it right, I'd need to like make it has to be like right here. I have to make it here. And one of the guys in the class is like, you need me to bring a hot plate? And I'm like, oh my gosh, these people are going to have me there make cafe. Oh. And it was funny because when I walked in with the cafe, I was super late. I was like 15 minutes late. And Ashton, the associate pastor, he was reading scripture at the time because we're reading this book called The Gospel Treason, which is about, you know, making things that are idols in your life, but you're not really recognizing them as idols, right? So it's a really funny book, and it's a good read. And he said, and he was reading scripture about the fall, you know, in Genesis. And I walk in, and he goes, "Oh, nice of you to join us." And I said, "I come bearing gifts. I brought Cuban coffee, like I promised." And he's like, "I wonder if this is if God will be upset if I stop reading scripture so we can have coffee." I said, "Well, you read the scripture, I'll pour the coffee." Mowdy, that's a good one. So they all had coffee and they liked it. So I guess I'll now they're gonna when I walk in, everybody's gonna be looking to see if I have a thermos. Yeah, I know. You know. Well, Cuban coffee is just espresso, Dawn. It's just espresso, but the way the Cubans make it is when you put your espresso to cook, right, where you put it to percolate, you get a cup and you put sugar in it, and when the coffee that first bit of coffee that comes out, you pour enough into that sugar to where when you stir it, you can create almost like a cream, and you just beat it until it lightens up till it's almost like a really light caramel color, and then you pour the rest of the coffee in it. So it puts a froth on the top of each shot that's nothing but like caramelized coffee. It's called espumita. So I pride myself on it. So that's why I wanted to share it with everybody, because I put a lot of time and effort into learning how to get it just right. And it's better than my mama's, she'll even tell you. So I'll definitely bring cafe when we finally have our meetup. Now the coffee's good, and that's why I was telling the class that, and that's why that guy said, "You need me to bring a hot plate?" Because he wanted me to make it right there. Percolate, highfalutin. Well, Dawn, if we ever have a meetup, you will have some. I'm still waiting to see if Dave Hughes ever actually shows up. I think he's going to go visit Craig and Rock Hill. And Mowdy, we have to get together. Maybe I'll meet you halfway. Because there's no reason for us not to meet up. Take you and the wife to lunch. We'll find some weird place to eat so you could do it for your Taste Test Tuesday. That way we can get some content out of it. Speaking of which, my content next week, guys, up in the air. There may be days where I just post like a 2-minute video of me saying, "Help, rescue me. I don't want to be here anymore." Oh my gosh. And he says that he sends an invite. Mi primo. He sends an invite. my manager, oh, I booked us for an escape room, and I booked us for a dinner after the escape room, and I'm thinking, ay, ay, ay. Escape. Yeah, I'm going to escape all right. But I've never done an escape room, so I think that would be kind of cool. I wonder what he would say if I just whipped out my phone and started vlogging. Live stream. Live stream in the escape room. And he said the name of the room, what did he say? It was called something like Fire Escape or something like that. Like something to do with lava. I don't know. Oh, Inferno. The Escape from the Inferno or something. Oh, no. Maori, I'm not going all the way to No, qué barato. I'm not going there. I wouldn't go there anyway. A bunch of wajitos in there, man. No, qué barato. Ay, ay, ay. Ya me calenté. But, oh my gosh, Hialeah. Hialeah is so crazy. My mom said the last time she went to Hialeah, she swore she was never going back. And she's Cuban. Said it's that bad. Even the hospital there, they're calling it the morgue. Because Hialeah Hospital has gotten so bad that it's like you go in and you don't ever come out. You could go in for like a hangnail and die. I believe it, Maori. It pains me to say it, but I believe it. Hialeah is bad. And where does that leave Miami Lakes? Because Miami Lakes is next door to Hialeah. It's wedged in between Hialeah and Miami Gardens. 2 armpits. So it's like the neck cheese, right? Because the armpit, sobaco, sobaco, and then you have your... Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, Hialeah. Back in the day, Don, remember when, what was that game called, Maori? Hialeah? Didn't that start up there in North Miami, in that area? And Hialeah was really nice back then. Yes, Maori. Yeah, Miami Lakes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I worked in Miami Lakes for a number of years when it was nice. I worked for Personnel One. I was one of those people that, got people temp jobs. I worked for Girl Friday. I worked for Personnel One, and I worked for, what was the other one called? Apogee Personnel. Yeah, does Hialeah even exist anymore? I don't think it does. But I would get people jobs. I've worn many hats, many, many hats. But it's been an hour, you guys. Are you all tired of seeing my Spackle free face? Ready to call it a night? It's almost 11 o'clock. Alma says no, of course, because she's like 3 hours behind us. What time is it there, Alma? 8:44? Maori. Yes, for real. Then I'll be one of those live streams that Dave Hughes talks about. Who goes on for 4 hours? Okay, so you're only 2. You're on, what do they call, mountain time. Yeah, I got more stories. I mean, I could tell stories all night. all the way through tomorrow. So many stories. Hey, Time Chaser. That's right, Mountain Time. Got it right then. I'll tell you guys another story. So, right after we moved out of the haunted house, the one I told you guys about. I was dating this boy, same boy. My parents did not like him at all. It's because of, him. I know, right, Dawn? And they didn't like him at all because, he had long hair and, he was just one of these kids that had a pack of cigarettes rolled up in his sleeve, and I started smoking, and they blame him, and I was like, Mom, it was the 80s. Everybody was smoking. I would have smoked whether or not I met him. And he said so we ended up, dating or whatever. My parents really, really disliked him. So to make a long story short, my parents decided I kept running away from home because they kept forbidding me to see him. So, and this is not my husband now, which is the irony of the whole story, but I kept running away. And the reason I say it like that is because they knew where I was. I was at his house, and his parents would talk to my parents, say, she's here, she's safe, or whatever. Well, my parents wanted to figure out a way to save me from, this tragic boyfriend, whatever, guy I was going to marry because he was the love of my life. And they sent me and my sister, because my sister would follow me everywhere I went. Same sister, Kelly. My younger sister, she's 4 years younger, so there was enough of a gap where she didn't really, follow along. Yeah, I was still alive. And they told me that my grandmother was sick, so me and my sister went to my grandmother's house. When I get there, my grandmother, bless her, she said, what are you doing here? And I said, you don't look sick. And she's like, you better get out of here. If your parents told you this is a trap. Well, next thing you know, there's like 8 police cars in the cul-de-sac. It was such an exaggeration. I can't even picture it. So me and my sister ran to the back of this house, and we're trying to get out a window because I didn't know what my parents had planned for us. But of course we're kids, so we got caught, and the police said, we're handing you over to your parents. You're an endangered teen, and your parents have the right to do, see, Larry? I'm not alone. Your parents have the right to do whatever they like with you. So, of course, it was my boyfriend at the time, his mom, who had brought us over to my grandmother's. And they're taking me and my sister out to the police car, and I remember my boyfriend's mom yelling at my parents, you people are insane. Yeah, I know, Mowdy. What a shocker. You people are insane. This is crazy. Just leave the kids alone. Just making perfect sense. But to my parents, it was like, I'm not listening to you. You don't know what's good for my children. So my parents, popped us into the minivan and started, they got us from the cop, popped us in the minivan, and I noticed there was garbage bags in the back that had clothing in them. I was like, oh my gosh, now what? So here we go. Off we drive, and I said, where are we going? And they said, we're going to go pick up a truck for your uncle in, where'd they tell me? Gosh, it's been so long since I told this story. I think they told me like Jacksonville. All right, so they give me a soda, and I start drinking the soda, and I pass out. So I'm convinced they drugged me, although to this day they swear they didn't drug me, but I've never drank a Coke and fallen asleep, okay? Especially after something like that. So I wake up, and I am bleary, and I have to go to the bathroom. We're at a gas station, and I said, I just have to go to the bathroom. So the bathroom was inside the gas station. I go in. As I'm coming out of the bathroom, I see the postcard display. And the postcard display says Alabama. And I'm going, Alabama? Why are we in Alabama? So I see a payphone, and I run over to it, and I call my boyfriend's house, collect. And he picks up, and I have just enough time to tell him I'm in Alabama. I have no idea what's happening. But wherever I get to, I will call you when I get there. Well, we keep driving. We make it to a little town called Louisdale in the state of Mississippi. We pull up to this 2-story, colonial style, Gone with the Wind looking place. You know, big gravel driveway, little church off to the side, and then this big house in front of us. I get out. I figure, all right, another place. Is this where we're getting the truck? And my parents didn't answer me. And I said, okay, this is where it's going to happen. So this guy comes out. He's like built like a barrel, like a keg. This guy, not very tall, but built like a, you know. Back in the day, I would have said a brick S-house. And he comes out, and he basically, like, tells me and my sister, come on in to my office or whatever. So I'm sitting there going, who is this guy? Well, what I didn't know was my parents had signed custody of me and my sister over to the Bethel Baptist Children's Home in Louisdale, Mississippi. And if you YouTube Bethel Baptist Children's Home, you will come across several interviews with Brother Fountain, Herman Fountain, who was, you know, the pastor that I'm talking about. You'll see what I mean by Bill. And he was insane person. I'll put it this way. Now, my parents, in their defense, they did not know. This was not the internet age where you could do research. You went by word of mouth. And they had heard from a friend of a friend that they had sent their kid there, and the kid came out great. This guy was insane. My sister and I were trapped there for 9 months. The first 3 months we were there, my sister and I were not allowed to look at each other, let alone speak to each other. We were shared a dorm. We were in the same dorm room. We were stripped. We were made to put on skirts past the knee. Blouses had to have sleeves on them. You weren't allowed to wear makeup. You weren't allowed to cut your hair. You weren't allowed. They were like Baptist, but like, you know, crazy. They believed in corporal punishment. You could get anything from being made to run until you threw up, or you could be made to get a switch, which anybody in the South, you know what a switch is. It's, you know, the long, skinny branch that they hit you with. I was fortunate. I was made to run, but I never threw up, and I was never hit with a switch. They did put me in a nightgown covered in little bells because I was a runaway risk, so they wanted to know where I was at all times at night. Stop it, Mouty. But it was, let me tell you, that was probably the most traumatic experience you can imagine. I remember sitting in that office, and when this stranger is telling me that we're going to live with him now, and all these other troubled girls, and his wife with 3,000 children, and, you know, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke. And, you know, I remember looking at my dad and just sobbing, don't leave me here, don't leave me here. And my dad just turned his back and walked away. I mean, I was just in shock. My mom was hysterical. But my dad was just like, he was done, you know. And they went ahead and they, you know, we went off to Bethel and they left. And so, you know, the first month there, I couldn't look at my sister. I communicated once to her. And I was sleeping on one top bunk and she was sleeping on another. And I looked at her and I was like, you and me are running tonight. Because they made you go to church like 3 times a week. Hey, Rob, what's up? And so I said, you know, we're running tonight. So that night we're walking to church, you know, the little church that's right. I mean, literally it's right there. And he's the pastor of this church. And we're walking to the church. And as we're supposed to turn to go to the church, I just took off straight and ran like the devil himself was after me. And I heard, yeah, I know, Troy, in a way, but my sister was behind me, and then I heard the gravel, and the sound of the gravel, I knew that she had slipped, because my sister, in her infinite wisdom, wore flat church shoes instead of running shoes like I did. So I kept running, because I already had the adrenaline going, and what I didn't know was that it was the gravel driveway, really long gravel driveway, think like Forrest Gump long, and then you get to the street, which is a little 2-lane road, and then there was a field on the other side. And past the field were woods. And in my mind, in my escape, you know, I was like, I need to get to the woods. If I can get to the woods, I can just climb up a tree, and they're not getting me down from that tree unless they cut the tree down. So I get all the way to the field. What I didn't know is they had dug a trench. Like, they let the grass grow really tall, and then they had a trench so that it would catch people. Like, straight up, the hills have eyes. And this guy, this is I mean, obviously, I'll tell you the end of it. I stopped for my sister because finally my brain kicked in, and I was like, I can't leave her alone here. Who knows what they'll do to her, you know? So but the guy said I was the first person he had ever seen clear the ditch. It was like, he said, I think he told me it was 8 feet wide. And I did not see it till literally I was on it, but that should tell you the level of fear that was in me, because all I heard was dogs barking. I thought they were releasing the hounds. Like, in my mind, it was survival. And when I saw the ditch, my foot hit the end of the ditch, and I soared over that thing. He said, your first person didn't fall in, you cleared it. And then, of course, you know, after I cleared the ditch, I was just like, oh my gosh. Well, Mowdy, there, of course, but you weren't allowed to talk to your parents for 3 months. You weren't allowed to talk to them at all. After 3 months, you could send letters, and the letters were read by the staff at this children's home, and they would use Sharpie marker or scissors to blot out or cut out any part of the letter that they didn't want communicated. And any letter that came into you was treated the same way. It was Sharpied out, cut out, whatever. So, I mean, mail tampering right there. I mean, geez, are you kidding me? But they would do that. And then after 4 months, you were allowed to have a telephone conversation, but they had a delay, and one of the staff would sit next to you, and if you said anything, they would cut off the call, and you would lose phone privileges. So you definitely didn't want to say anything. So, and then after 6 months, you're allowed a visit. So after the 6-month mark, my parents came to see us, and they weren't allowed to take us off the property to go to a hotel or anything. They had a trailer on the property that parents could stay at, and you would visit them in the trailer. And somebody had warned me that the trailer was bugged. You know, not to say anything in the trailer because they were listening. So fortunately for me, you know, I spoke in Spanish. And the first thing I said to them when we got to the trailer is, "Nos están grabando," so that they knew we were being recorded. And when my mom saw me, she started to cry because I was covered in welts, and they had us as slave labor. They would pile all the kids into the back of a flatbed and take us out to either a green bean field or a blueberry field, or, you know, blueberry is almost like a tree. It's like a bush, but a tree. And we would pick, pardon me, bushels and bushels and bushels of this stuff. And they would basically get the money and get a portion of the produce, and then we'd have to go back and we'd use the produce in the kitchens. So when my mom saw me and she saw us covered in scratches and bruises, and, you know, because we were picking blackberries, which they have the nastiest thorns you can imagine, and she just saw the condition we were in, long, scraggly hair, you know, she just sobbed and said, "I got to get you out of here." And it took them almost 3 more months to get us out, to get them to release custody. Yep. So that was, and there's so many things that happened while I was there that I could talk about that is just, long story short though, well, it's long story long, they shut that place down about 2 years after I left. The cops finally came and raided it and shut it down for good. And then they reopened later as an all-boys place. And I think that they closed it again, but I think the last I checked, at least about 5 or 6 years ago, yeah, Time Chaser, that's what I'm telling you. God is real. Because that should have poisoned me towards anything to do with God. And I feel sorry for the people that went there that didn't, whose gospel, you know, their exposure to the gospel was tainted for life. Because, I mean, he's going to be held to account for that. Brother Fountain. He's going to be held to account for that. Because those are souls that could have been won, and he used it. He used it for his own purpose, his own power. And he made all the kids had to call him Daddy. You want to talk about somebody creepy? We had to call him Daddy. So, he was everybody's daddy. Just creepy, creepy guy. You know, the girls were the lowest rung because it was girls, then women, including like wives and stuff. It was girls, women, then the boys that were there, the troubled youth, even if, because they're boys, they're above even their own wives, and then the men. So the girls, us, we would have to go into the kitchen first, prepare the meal, serve the men first, then the boys, then the women, and then we could serve ourselves, and we had to eat fast enough to get back in the kitchen to receive the dirty plates and stuff from the men and clean the dishes. And we were never allowed to make eye contact with any man or, you know, boy or anything like that. Yeah, Alma. And I saw a lot of kids come in there under similar circumstances, like their parents lied to them or whatever. And they, and you know, they were tied to chairs because the boys had to have their heads shaved, and they would tie them to chairs, and the boys would be screaming, and it was just a bad scene. Bad scene. I saw one girl got beat with a switch so badly that, I mean, I just stood there and just tears silently rolling down my face. I couldn't say anything. Hey, Brian. Nope, not at all, Alma. The devil. It was like a cult, Larry. It was like a cult because everybody that was there, now, he didn't really have, I think there was maybe only 3 or 4 members of the staff that weren't directly related to him. Everybody there was like family. All right, I'm taking a break. Hold on a second. I'll be right back after these messages. You can look at my robe. Sorry, I was thirsty. Yeah, cafecito. I'll make you cafecito. Yep. We all have stories, Alma. But those are the... Are you quoting Grease, Kentucky Ranger? But yeah, that was one of the things I went through as a teenager. Brian will be bouncing off the walls in 3, 2, 1. They need an intermission feature in the live chat. Like you press a button and it puts on the little dancing soda and the popcorn and the hot dog. But yep, Bethel Baptist Children's Home in Louisdale, Mississippi. Makes me curious too. Like to go Google them up and see what they're up to. Coffee makes you sleepy? American coffee makes me sleepy. And I think somebody told me once that American coffee has more caffeine, but I'm like, I don't believe that. Yes, the dancing hot dogs. With the bun was dancing, and then he opens up and the hot dog jumps in, or she opens up and the hot dog jumps in. I'm like, okay. But yeah, that's the Bethel story. And then, of course, my parents didn't learn anything. They didn't just take me home. They shipped me right from there. They drove me up to Chicago and put me with my aunt and uncle. That was a whole nother story. Molly's good to go, Brian. Thankfully, he said that I'm going to need new tires in the fairly, near future. But not right now. It's good enough for Georgia, and I had him put new wipers on because I'm hoping it doesn't rain on Sunday. I'm hoping that the forecasters are wrong. What are you sorry about, Troy? That I have to go? I have to go to Georgia? Ay, ay, ay. These people. But you know what? He's new to the company. I mean, they hired him from outside of ADP. So, he doesn't know. Yes, Brian, I did. I'm going to go on the Nextdoor app when I get back, and I'm going to ask my neighbors. Any of them have Boy Scouts that want me that can make me a birdhouse. Yeah, Dawn, that was my main concern. I wanted to make sure all my tires were good. My brakes, obviously. Oh, Troy, don't be sorry. It was all, you know what, I've after going through it and coming out of the other side and getting saved and everything else, I absolutely have no doubt in my mind that these are things that I had to go through to be who I am today. I'm the Fresh Princess of Miami. Yeah, Brian, he does. He does. And those chicken breasts that I wasn't even sure how that was going to come out, because that was my first time cooking like raw food in it, and it came out so good. I'm going to keep it, Dawn. I'm going to keep the old birdhouse. We're going to, make it better so that the nest isn't falling out of the bottom. Tighten it all up, and then I'm going to put a new one on the other side of the pole, or I haven't decided if I'm going to put it on the other side of the pole, or if I'm going to put it above the existing, or if I'm going to put it just nearby. But just give them another option, and if they move into the new one of their own accord, then that's fine. And what stinks is, I guess we used to, the people who used to live here, like the birdhouse, the one I showed you on my vlog, is on the pole. But at the top of the pole is one of those birdhouses that has like 8 or 9 different holes in it. No, I won't, Brian. They have to do their own. Mowdy, you have to come do that. I have no experience. And it has a bunch of holes in it. Somebody told me it's for martins. I guess that's a type of bird. But I've never seen anything in there. I don't know. It's always vacant. Ready, Shetty Birdhouse. Yes. It's where they go home and sleep well. Come on, Mouty. All that experience. Use that wood that was on the floor that almost killed you the other day. Make me a birdhouse. I'll make you cafe. Ay, ay, ay. My nose has been itching so much. I can't wait till we get into the summer. It was good. Those drop biscuits were good, and they were so easy, Brian. Yeah, right. No, my red nose not from bourbon. Hey, Stingray. Dude, why aren't you recording that stuff? I want to see. I'm a band wife. You know we're all into that. Mouty, it's sabotage. It's sabotage, I tell you. Oh, I just like Kentucky Ridge. Go home and tweet well. I like that one. Yes. Oh my gosh. Kentucky, give your mom a great big kiss for me. So she's introduced me to the awesome world of Bisquick. Stingray, you got a drummer lined up? Are you singing too? Stingray, I meant to ask, are you going to be the one singing in the band? No, Brian, it doesn't. Yes, and give her a kiss for me too, Dawn, while you're at it. Your mom is precious. Oh, you got all the pieces and you'll be backup singing. Okay. Well, I think I speak for all of us when I say we expect video. I mean, come on now. Don't be stingy. Oh, man, that's great. So hard to find a good front man, a good singer. A lot of times they have the personality, but they don't have the pipes, or they have the pipes, but they don't have the personality. And we love her, Dawn. She's awesome. I'm waiting, like Dave Hughes says the day that she says, you're adopted. He always makes me laugh when he says that. No, Stingray, you guys do not play in the nude because you'd feel very uncomfortable. So don't even try to get out of it that way. Mouty, I wonder how the music for that would go. The Kentucky Godfather. Like on a banjo. You don't have pipes or personality. Yeah, okay. Try that with people that don't see you all the time. and then Mouty, and then the big twist is they say, who's your real father? And they show Dave Hughes. Oh my gosh. Hey, Nick. Well, that's all that matters, Kentucky. If it sounds good in your head. No, Stingray, you're not. Because I want to go in the pool and I don't need your little curlies floating in there. No thanks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, baby, say you love me 5, 6, 7 times. Oh, fun fact, I was involved in the Guinness Book's world longest conga line in Calle Ocho back in the day. Your little, you know, your little curlies. Only if it's a thong, Stingray. Because I'll make sure to record that. I'll put a warning. No, Elizabeth's going to get you. No, the rhythm is going to get you. O sea, cabezón. Hey, Presidential. I still have to watch your Christmas at Disney Springs video. I know. Alma, the later it gets. Yeah, there was a World's Longest Conga Line, Joe. Back in the 80s when that song came out, Come, Shake Your Body, Baby, Do the Conga. And Calle Ocho, which is, well, it used to be a really fun street festival. Cuban street festival in Miami, and now it's garbage. It's filled with thieves, pickpockets, trash. Nobody goes anymore. My name is Cuban Pete. Mowdy, you're so funny. Miami Sound Machine, right. Gloria Estefan. Oh my gosh. This side convo between Kentucky and Stingray has me so disturbed. It's one of those things where I'm watching it going, do I really want to know anymore? I don't want to know anymore. Oh my gosh. Yeah, those were good times. Yeah, right, Mowdy. Star Island, those people are, they don't even want to know other people exist. We're doing good, Presidential. Man, we've had, I think this is my longest live stream, an hour and a half so far. We've just been chit-chatting about everything you could imagine. Ghosts and me telling stories of my youth and the man's prayer. Stingray, I don't know when I can take you seriously and when I can't. A side convo? Yeah, but I don't know if anybody wants to know. Oh my gosh. No, K-Dog has the title, man. Okay. Kentucky? That's scary. That sounds like it needs to be on a different platform than YouTube. Well, thanks, Joe. I'm just laughing. The more tired I get, you know, slap happy. Oh my gosh. Kentucky Fried Ranger shaves a Brazilian. We should leave that as a comment on every video we watch tomorrow. Just as a secret code to each other. You know how we do the MLATG for Much Love Around the Globe, and people are like, what does that mean? Now we'll have a new one. Kentucky shaves a Brazilian. Stingray watches. Which is no matter what the video's about. It could be Taste Test Tuesday. And just see people's reaction. Be like, I seen a bunch of people posting this today, and I have no idea what it means. Yes, you have to have the while Stingray watches. Because that's going to throw them off. They're going to think, Stingray, does this have anything to do with Steve Irwin? Oh my gosh, Mowdy. I know, Troy. It's all in good fun. It's all in good fun. Oh my gosh, so funny. You always make me laugh. Like the show? Or like the pain that I saw on Gas Nation's video? Oh my gosh. No, Kentucky. I'm telling you, man, my friend, I said it earlier. My friend was like, I'm going to go get one of those for my cruise. And I said, I don't think you should. And she told me the cruise was terrible. She was in pain the whole time. I said, nope, 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 nope. I know, Alma. That's... Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. You have to be like, I don't know. You have to be able to take a tremendous amount of pain. That's all I gotta say. And that's not me. That's why I don't have a tattoo. I'm like the only person I know that doesn't have a tattoo. Because even the pain of a tattoo, I was like, no, 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 no. I only have my ears pierced once. I don't like to volunteer myself for pain. I still tear up when I go on and get my face done. No thanks, Kentucky. No thank you. Not interested. Yeah, exactly, Alma. And I told her that, but she's one of those people that's very she's a little bit younger than me. She's in her late 30s, I think, or maybe early 40s. But she's very, very naive. Very, very naive. She's just very, her parents sheltered her a lot, and then she's only been with one guy since she left her parents' house, and that's it. You know, like, she doesn't know the world or had any, like, life experience, and so she's ignorant to things that I mean, she asks questions sometimes, I'm like, what? Yeah, see, presidential, I don't know. I don't know how, I mean, I have friends that they've had tattoos, had them removed, had new ones put on, and me, I'm like, I can't do it. Because I have this fear, I'll go and they'll start zzz, and I'll be like, no, no, and then you have this, like, weird thing there. Be like, what's that? Oh, it's a tattoo, kind of. But no, now that I'm older, I just don't want one. What's the joke that say you get a butterfly and then you're 60 and it's a dragonfly or something? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Ranger. Dear Penthouse Forum, you won't believe what happened to me today. You don't have any either, Joanne? Okay, so I'm actually happy about that. I don't feel so alone. It feels like everybody I know. Well, my husband doesn't have any either, which shocked me. But yeah, see, like Alma, we're about the same age, honey. So I mean, that era, everybody got something, either up here on the shoulder or on the ankle. Ugh, I need to take Sudafed. Oh my gosh, now I've got a song, and I don't even know if it's the song you're quoting, Mowdy. I'm hearing, for your eyes only, only for you. Why? Yeah, on the shoulder. Oh my gosh, Mowdy, por favor. Ferrari. Lamborghini, baby. I know a lot of people with tattoos, and gosh, the one thing I learned about tattoos, though, is for some people, it's incredibly addicting. My stepdaughter, the one that is going to be having a baby, which, by the way, she posted on Facebook earlier tonight that she's 2 centimeters already. So I'm like, oh boy, I might be an abuela before the end of the weekend. But she has sleeves. I mean, she's got tattoos from wrist to shoulder, both arms, and some on her legs. You know, I didn't know, the story with my stepdaughter is my husband and I didn't know her, you know, we heard rumors of her existence, but we didn't know where she was, who she, you know, her name or anything. she reached out to him on Facebook 2 years ago. She came into our lives. So I'm so excited about that because she came into our lives perfect timing. Yeah, Joe. You could tell it's like people in the 90s. Everybody had the barbed wire. Or not the barbed, well, the tribal tattoos. Oh my gosh, Brian. The plane, the plane. I know. I think I'm going to be Mima. Because her mom's going to be abuela, obviously. And then her abuela is going to be Huita. And then she's got family on the other side, you know. Then, of course, the daddy's parents. So I had to pick something. And I was like, you know what? I'm in South Carolina. I need to be Mima. Mima. No, there's not going to be any Mauricia. I don't know what the middle name is yet. No, they took Nana too. They took Nana too. I'm fighting with like 3 or 4 sets of people. So, and I rank lowest on the totem pole because I'm the step abuela. So I have to take what I can take. Wow, Dawn, that's commitment too. That must have hurt like, whew. Oh, how did I meet Glenn? That's another funny story. That's a story, that's a cautionary tale. A cautionary tale. So, all right, this was in 1991? Yes, I think it was 1991. And I said, I was with some friends, and the guy that I was dating at the time, that we were at the tail end of our relationship. I mean, we'd broken up like 80 million times already, and we're together because we were just, you know, used to each other at that point. We've been dating for a little over a year. So, and ironically, Brian, his name was Brian, but it was Bri with a Y. So we went to this party, and there was a band playing, and I was listening to the band, right, da-na-na, with the little star. There was a band playing, and I said, okay, I'm going to sit right here on the speaker. So I was watching the band, and I thought the drummer was hot, which, of course, turned out to be Glenn. But I was drinking screwdrivers that night. Orange juice and vodka, I think. I don't know. It's been a minute. And I was just drinking and drinking and drinking. And getting, you know, stupid, dancing and having a good time. And then the band took a break. And Glenn walked up to me and he said, "Get off the speaker." And I said, "No, I'm not getting off the speaker. There's nowhere to sit. This is where I'm going to sit. And, you know, that's it. You know, I can't stand right now and whatever." So I don't know, because this is the part that's a cautionary tale. Glenn and I had a full-fledged conversation that night. We went outside, we sat on the trunk of somebody's car, and we had a full-on conversation, and to this day, neither one of us can remember what we said to each other. The only thing we knew is that we liked each other right off the bat, and that was it. And I left the party with Brian and thought I'd never see him again, or figured, you know, whatever. So I broke up with Brian probably a month after that, and I was kind of down in the dumps. I was sitting at home by myself, and one of my friends, this guy Steve, said, you know, "You can't sit at home and do nothing. You know, the night is young. Let's go out." And I'm like, all right. So, and I'd known Steve for a long time, and he's a good friend. And he said, let's go, and I'll take you for a drive. And I'm like, well, I don't know, it's kind of like one of these nights, I don't have any makeup on, and, I've got my sweatpants on, I don't feel like getting dolled up or whatever. He goes, no, just, we'll go for a drive. And I said, all right, fine, thinking whatever. Well, this little sneakazoid, Steve, decides, I get in the car and he starts driving, and he keeps driving, and guess where he takes me, Mauricio? Hialeah. So we're getting to Hialeah, and I said, what on earth? Where are you going? And he just started smiling, and I'm like, okay, I don't like the smile, because Steve was he's a prankster. So we pull up to these warehouses, and I hear music. And I turned and I looked at him. I said, you've got to be kidding me. Because Steve was like my best friend. So I had told him I thought the drummer was hot. And he's like, come on, let's go in. The guitarist is a friend of mine. I said, listen, look at the way I look. I can't go, in there and flirt with this guy or whatever. And he's like, well, as far as I'm concerned, if he doesn't like the way you look like this, then he doesn't deserve you. So how can you argue with that? Ladies, how can you argue with that? So in we went. Oh my gosh, Stingray, what are you guys talking about? I went in, no spackle, sweatpants. I went in there and I sat down and just started listening to him. And when they took a break, Glenn comes over to me and he goes, hey, and I'm like, hey, and he's like, what you been up to? I said, nothing. And he's like, we talked that night. I said, yeah, what did we talk about? He goes, I have no idea. I said, me neither. And he sat down next to me and we made small talk for a little bit, and then he just said, you want to go on a date? And I said, sure, might as well, can't hurt. I said, I like, lobster and things like that. And he laughed. He goes, you're dating the wrong guy. I'm a starving musician. I said, all right, well, let's go have chicken wings and beer then. So we went and had chicken wings and beer, and that was it, Alma, And with the still kind of like the flash dance with one, like the shirt with the one shoulder exposed so your sports bra would show. And we had chicken wings and beer, and we went out a couple more times, and then we made out on a park bench somewhere, and that was it. We were officially dating. And that was that. And I've been with him ever since. We got married, we got divorced, we got back together. It's, long, long story. Yeah, they were practicing in Hialeah. That was the cheapest place to practice. The cheapest warehouse you could find. Natural Sound Studios. Yeah, no, Stingray, I didn't wake up and married. No, it took years. And then it was, he finally pops the question, like 5 or 6 years in. And sure enough, as I'm planning my wedding, I miss my auntie. And I go take a test, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I dodged all those bullets, and now I'm pregnant. So we didn't have the wedding. We had to have a very interesting ceremony where he had to work, and I had to go to a friend who was a notary and wear a McDonald's napkin on my head and hold a plastic rose. And the vows sort of went like this. Do you want him? I said, yeah. She goes, does he want you? And I said, he better. And she goes, okay. Santa's Enchanted Forest. That thing's still going on, Mowdy, and they have the nerve to charge people like $20-something a person to go in there. Que tremendo mierda. So, yep. That's a story of how I met Glenn. It was at the party. Good night, Time Chaser. Love you. So yes, my life has been fairly interesting. For real, Mowdy. I mean, it was my mom's best friend who married us, and we went to the courthouse together because, you know, you have to be there in person. But when then he had to go back to work. So I drove to where, you know, my mom's best friend worked, and I said, here's the license. And she said, you know, do you? I said, yeah. Does he? He better. And that's it. Because I had to get the insurance now. Baby was coming. And we always planned. You know how it goes, Mowdy. Oh, once the baby comes and we save money, we'll have the big wedding. You know, it never happens. Thank you, Stingray. It's just late, and I don't even know what's on TV. It's been going. I see Leonardo DiCaprio on there. Oh, The Wolf of Wall Street or something. Oh, Mowdy. My youngest sister, Roxy, she was in love with this guy, and he wanted to marry her, and she didn't want to get married yet because she wanted to finish school. And I guess he got mad, and then it turned out he was dating this other girl on the side, and she went on Facebook one day, and she thought that him and her were good, you know, like, they weren't, like, dating anymore, but they weren't really seeing anybody else. They were kind of just waiting for each other. And she went on Facebook one day, and she saw pictures of him getting married to some chick in Las Vegas by Elvis. That's how she found out. Oh, no, Brian. No, because Glenn was born and raised in Miami. So he'd been exposed to that Latino cooking. He jokes around that, you know, he married me for my cooking and my big butt. So I don't know if the two are related or mutually exclusive. Well, I didn't cook that well. I mean, imagine we got together. I was, what, 18? 19? And so, you know, I had to learn. I made a lot of spaghetti at first, so I could hone my craft. But then I had his mom teach me a lot of the recipes. Oh my goodness, Stingray. Where's Christy Brinkley in that equation? You want to talk about somebody who never ages. Have you guys seen Christy Brinkley? Dude, that girl's on witchcraft or something. There's no way that she still looks the same. I was in Kohl's the other day, and she's got this, like, not makeup line, but a skincare line now. And I'm looking, I'm like, either tremendo Photoshop. Yeah, I know, Brian, right? Either tremendo Photoshop or something. But she looks the same. Like everybody else has aged, but Christy Brinkley's in a time warp. Billy Joel should have never let her go. That was the best that fool was going to get. She looks amazing, Troy. Amazing. You're so vain. I bet you think the song is about you. You're so vain. Oh, man, I haven't heard that song in a minute. My mom had the 45. It would play it all the time. Yep, Mowdy. Time chasing's right backwards. She's still Uptown Girl. She could get in that same outfit, I bet, and do the same dance. And she's like 60 million years old. No, I'm kidding. I think she's 63. I hope I look like that when I'm 63. I don't look like that now, so no hope. I have no idea, Ryan. I have no idea who he married. I recall something about him marrying some Food Network lady, but I have no idea who he married. But it's certainly not Christy Brinkley. That song was about you, Stingray. You walked into the party Like you were walking into a yacht. Yeah, man. And she's not typical Hollywood. I mean, even, who's the other one? Gosh, her name escapes me. Hi, Aaliyah girl. Not Julia Child. Not Julia Child. What was what's the other one? Gosh, the other supermodel. You guys know who I'm thinking of. Yeah, Brian. I think she has her daughters now doing some kind of thing with Sports Illustrated. What was it? Why is her name like not clicking? Probably because I'm tired. The one with the mole hair, the supermodel, brown hair. She's another one that's aged really well. Julia Child is dead? Don't tell me. I can't remember her name. It's right here, and I can't remember. Yes, thank you, Mowdy. Coño. It's driving me crazy. Cindy Crawford. Allie just gave me the look. Like, you gonna be live streaming all night? Richard Gere. Richard Gere is one of those that looked better older than younger. Just like Sean Connery. He looked better older than younger. Cindy Crawford has a skincare line too, right? I don't know. Seems like they all have skincare lines these days. Richard Gere. Gerbil boy. Lyle Lovett. Wait, no, that was Julia Roberts, no? Julia Roberts married Lyle Lovett. That was during her armpit hair phase of her life. Nasty. Remember seeing that picture going, you nasty. No way, Mowdy. Not in my house. She knows better. And she heard the story of what Anna's mom did to her. She knows I'll do that. French cantaloupes. Okay, everybody. Tomorrow we're going to put... the comments are going to be French cantaloupes. Julia Roberts. She just has like a big mouth. Her sister looks just like her. Emma Roberts. Skincare. Can't afford that fancy stuff. Unless I get it through my like Ipsy or something like that, I don't buy the expensive stuff. I use either Neutrogena or got a couple things I think from L'Oreal. Oh, Mowdy, bite your tongue. Bite your tongue. My parents feel so bad about that. I told them, yeah, I don't hold anything against you. You guys thought you were doing what was best. You didn't do it with evil intent. Cantaloupe francesi. We went from ghost stories to Brazilians to skincare to French cantaloupes. Oh, this is one of those live streams that's going to have to come down because no one's going to know what the heck. Crazy, crazy live stream. Not to mention it's Spackle free. Oh God, I'm sorry, you guys. The cafecito's running out. Yeah, it's Alma. To naked cannonballs. Oh my gosh. You know, at that Bethel place at the children's home, that we weren't even, we had a pool, but we had to swim in the skirt and the shirt. I mean, we had to swim fully dressed. No, no, Stingray. No, I have to draw the line. I've seen him with no shirt. It's enough with no shirt. I clicked on that video. What was the name of that video, Stingray? It was like outtakes or something. And I click on this video so innocently, thinking, oh, you know, he'll have just like little snippets of him walking through or whatever. Next thing you know, he's standing there shaving with no shirt. And Allie happened to be sitting next to me and she started screaming. What is that? I said, that is a camo Dave. She's like, that guy, that sticker on your laptop? I said, yep. Oh, man. Bless his heart. Yeah, Brian. I know. I know. He's bald, so it's deceiving. And then all of a sudden, if you see him with no shirt, you're like, holy moly. It's like, he's from the generation of, gosh, my brain's not firing on all cylinders anymore. It's too late. Mowdy. Everybody loves him. He's like the crazy uncle, like I said in the other live stream. It's like, you know, we can pick on him. But if anybody from the outside attacks him, they better look out. Because everybody's going to come for them. Because he's ours. He's ours to make fun of. He's a sweetheart. I really hope he does come. I would be so excited. Even though my husband's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. You'll love him. My husband loves Lou, who I was very happy to hear from today on YouTube's. Yeah, Mowdy. That's what I mean. He's like the uncle. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. And he's so funny. All I'm saying is if he comes here to South Carolina, Mowdy, and he gets in touch with me that he's coming for his meatball sub, then I'll let you know. You need to haul Boogie up here. Well, I'll get in touch with everybody I know that's in the immediate area. I'll be like, hey, let's attack. He'll think it's just me with a meatball sub. Next thing you know, it's like a full-on meetup. He did, Stingray. I'm so glad. I'm still worried, man. Yikes. Dale. Dale que tú puedes. I'm still worried about Lou. I hope that the recovery speeds up a bit. Until he's back on, you know. Okay. But until he's back to his old self, I'm going to be worried. Concussions are no joke. Alma, in the immediate area of Arizona. No, but I think there's a lot of people, like North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee. And we'll do it on the sly. We'll have to do, like, private messages so he doesn't catch wind. And I'll tell him, oh, you know, my husband's not comfortable. You coming to the house. I'm going to meet you over here. A little white lie. And then he'll show up somewhere and he'll be he'll feel so important, all these people. Can I get your autograph, Dave? That's what I'm saying, Mowdy. And South Carolina too. There's a lot here too. I know, but that's your advantage, Alma. Because you have like a section of, you know, territory there that you explore and show that most people don't get to see. I mean, there's only so many times you could see Dollywood. Por el amor de Dios. That would be awesome. As a matter of fact, Stingray, if that happens, I want you to show up. I want you to show up last. Like, wait till you see him pulling in his little Volkswagen, the little in the parking lot, and I want you to just pull up next to him and just rev the engine and scare him. Oh, he's not so old that it would scare me that it would kill him. It would be just enough to startle. A harmless startle. Speaking of which, something I found out about myself is that if I am startled, like seriously startled, that I'll faint. Glenn popped out and scared me once when we were first dating, like the first couple years. It was the middle of the night and I went to get water and I had some water. I set the cup down. I started back down the hallway and I didn't have my glasses or contacts in. I couldn't see, but I mean, it was dark anyway. It's not like I had anything to see. And I didn't hear him get up and hide. And as I was coming down the hall, he jumped out. I went, boo. And he said the only sound I made was, ugh. And I just hit the ground. So I'm like one of those fainting goats. So don't startle me. You could do that, Stingray. You could show up with him. Well, no, Stingray, you wouldn't want me to faint. Because I'm older now. And fainting, I might pee. And that's embarrassing. Because I'm older. You'll be, I made the old girl. Like my sister says, you ship your clothes, you shipped your pants. Oh my gosh, Mouty. Don't scare Mouty, whatever you do. And Stingray, what did you do to him? Did you faint or did you punch? Man, I'm just picturing. Yeah, Alma, I mean, that's what I thought I would do. I thought I knew myself well enough to say, oh, I would scream, but sack of potatoes. I would, you know, in your mind, you're like, I would have mad ninja skills. Like somebody would startle me and you would instantly become like Bruce Lee. Hiya! 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 You fainted, see? I don't feel alone. Well, no, Mouty, I mean, the thing is that you don't know until you're actually put in the position what your body's natural response is going to be. You know what I'm saying? So I never realized I would faint. I always thought I would be like, ah, hiya, hiya. But no. I went, bloop. Stingray, I never had a brother. Well, I have one now, but he's young. My dad remarried. But I never had the advantage of a jerky older brother or anything. I'm the oldest. Alma, that's what I thought. I thought I'd scream and slap. Because that's what my mom would do. I would jump out and scare my mom, and she would just say, Niña, te mato! See, so I'm the oddball. I'm the oddball in the Latina group here. The Latino group. Everybody else's natural response is to attack. And mine is to play dead like a possum. Uy, Dios mío. What do you mean? Stingray. Oh, he would pick on you. Well, I could tell you that my husband would say, I totally feel you, because he's the youngest boy, and he had 2 older brothers, and boy, oh boy. Hey, Doc, you're back. And I'm still going. This is like the craziest live stream ever. Yeah, Stingray, my husband once told the story that his brothers were bored, and there was one of the neighborhood kids and they told Glenn, jump the fence and go kick that kid's butt. And if you don't, well, they didn't use butt, but go kick that kid's butt, because if you don't kick his butt, we're going to kick yours. And so my husband, you know, I guess he was, what, 9 years old? He jumped the fence and just attacked this kid. And he later on became, like, best friends. Yes, Mouty. My husband does that to me now. The hitting yourself thing. What is it about men? They're grown boys. I'm like, I'm going to give you an Indian burn. I'm like, grow up. Hey, Ruthy. Yep, Stingray. That will never go away. Why are you hitting yourself? And the old crack. Yeah, here's another story. So, you know, Glenn and I are dating, and there's a culture difference. You know, I'm from, obviously, a Latino household, and he's from a Florida native household, American household. Back when there was still people that spoke English in Miami, way back in the day. And they said, well, I was there for Easter, right? So Easter at my mom's or my grandmother's was very festive, and we had, you know, the pernil, you know, the Cuban ham and all this kind of stuff. And then we get over to Glenn's house, and they got the ham and everything, but they've got like a big pot of just, you know, hard-boiled eggs. And the thing they like to do is they'll take the egg, and when you're not, whoever's not paying attention, they'll just walk up and crack the egg on your skull, and then just start peeling the egg casually, as if they didn't crack it on your skull. Man, can you imagine? You're dating this guy, and you're just sitting there, you know, wearing your Easter and all nice and spackled up, and then somebody just walks up to you and cracks an egg on your head just to break the shell so they can start peeling it. I'm looking at him like, are you serious right now? But I grew to love it and embrace it and pass the tradition on. My kids know. My kids know. You do not want to be around us if we got hard-boiled eggs. Somebody's getting it right on the head. I don't know, man. Every family's different. Every family's different. I remember, may he rest in peace, my father-in-law. Oh, I love that man. He had all these, you know, they're from Georgia originally, my husband's parents. And they had all these sayings that I didn't know, you know. I mean, I didn't grow up hearing people say, you know, it's like what would he say? You know, crapping in tall cotton, but not crapping, you know, it's like, or high cotton or something, meant you were living high on the hog, things like that. I would just stare at them like, what are you talking about? Stingray, Illuminati. And I remember one day they were cooking something, and he looked at me, and he said, do you want your name in the pot? You know, just like an innocent question. I was like, I don't know what that means. And he just looked at me with that long-suffering look he was so good at. He's like, do you want your name in the pot? And I said, what does that mean? And then Glenn came out. He goes, it means, are you going to eat tonight? We need to know if you're, we need to make enough to include you. I'm like, I have no idea. You want your name in the pot. He's also the man who taught me how to play poker. And I remember saying, I want to learn how to play poker. He goes, oh, you want to learn? I said, yeah. He goes, I'll teach you. I said, oh, thank you. And I sat down at the table. And he said, where's your money? And it took me about $15 before I learned. But I learned. As soon as I started to win my money back, he said, okay, you got it now. And he got up and left the table. Oh, Doc, that's vivid imagery. A chubby Mexican and a crusty old German guy. Ooh. Poker face. I know, but he taught me. He taught me. And he taught me all these really weird games. And, you know, this is before, like, people started playing that poker with, what do they call it? With the river and all that kind of stuff. I didn't really know about all that. We would play just, you know, we would make up games. You know, jacks are better to open, trips to win, baseball, all sorts of stuff. Queens and follows was my favorite. Yeah, Texas Hold'em, Larry. I never played that one. Those kind of sayings, Mowdy, just like, you know, I'd heard too big for your britches because I watched TV, but they had some, like, you're busier than a cat under a guava tree. That was one that really stumped me. And then one day I finally was just like, what does that mean? And he just laughed and he said, you ever been near a guava tree? I said, no, but I eat guava. He goes, no, but an actual guava tree. I said, no. And he goes, when the fruit falls off that tree and starts to rot, it smells straight up like cat poop. So that's why you're busier than a cat under a guava tree, trying to bury it all. And like more nervous than a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. I just all these sayings, but gosh, I do miss him. Yeah, Stingray, there's another one. Oh my gosh. Mowdy, I can't remember exactly. It was something to the effect of you could pinch the beard off of Abe or something like that. Talking about pinching a penny. You could pinch the beard clear off of Abe Lincoln. Yeah, Brian. He would use the cat in a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. He would use that one, and it was just fun, you know. He would just come up with stuff. Sometimes I thought he would just make stuff up. And I'd always have to check with like a second or third source to see if he'd made it up. Because sometimes I just felt like he had just had fun with me on it. Because I was like a newborn baby when it came to all these sayings. We had so much fun though, man. Every time there was a holiday, we'd have these huge, like, it's a big family. And we would just do poker night. And we would just have all this poker, you know, everybody like packing onto a table. Yeah, walk and chew bubble gum. Pack it to the table and just play poker and play poker, and then nobody wanted to quit because somebody was always losing, you know, and that person would be like, no, just another hand. No, Mowdy, when it came to that, it would be like they fell out of the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. Or something to that effect. I should have written them down. You know, it's because I was young. I always think, man, I should have started this vlog so long ago. You know, in some form. Yeah. Fell down the ugly tree and hit every branch. Oh, Mowdy, I've never heard that one. So skinny, you can't even see your shadow. Oh my gosh, Stingray, how violent. Oh my gosh. Oh, face caught on fire and she put it out with a wet brick. Oh my gosh. I always heard it's a butter face. That girl's got a butter face. And I was like, what does that mean, butter face? Like, I always think, you know, greasy or something like that. And they're like, man, she has a heck of a body, butter face. And I'm like, oh no, that's wrong. Butterface, aka the double bagger. Just mean, mean. Oh, goodness, I'm sorry. Oh man, Doc. Correct, Mowdy. Although they're getting some culture up in here. It's so wrong. There's so, it's, you know, the cut down, so wrong. Sorry, I keep yawning. I'm trying to tragarlo, but it's after midnight. Alright, go away, you. There. What happened? There. Oh my goodness, stop. This thing's obsessed. There, let me not touch it. 3 times a lady. That reminds me. When I was working in the office in Miami, one of my best friends there was this gay black guy, right? And there was this girl in the office who happened also, she was this black lady, and she always had different wigs, you know. She was very proud of her wigs. Hush, Mowdy, no black screen. And one day she walked in with this wig, and I mean, nobody wanted to say anything, because, you know, come on. And it was a red curly wig. And when I say red, I mean, you know, it was red. Like, not maroon or, you know, auburn. It was red. So nobody dared say anything to her, you know. She loves her wig. She loves her wig, you know. And so I remember that Barry came around the corner. That's my friend. And he comes around the corner and he looks at her. And he just takes 2 more steps towards her and just stares at her. And she looks up at him and she's like, what's the problem? He goes, the sun will come out tomorrow, and started singing Annie right there in the middle of the office. And everybody died laughing. I felt so bad for her. But we were all thinking it, you know, and he was the only one with the guts to just go. Really, Doc? Did you go to that little cigar shop they used to have there back in the day? Stop, Mowdy. Catch up on some work. But he just flat out, the sun will come out tomorrow. And she's like, you better stop. And he said, I'm sorry, I gotta say something. Oh, man. It was bad. It was bad. We were all laughing. I think that's what made it so bad, was that he started singing it and the entire office started laughing. Because, I mean, there was no getting around it. I mean, it almost looked like she put it on as a joke. That's how, like, not good it looked. But she just probably thought she was making a statement and doing something completely different. But no, different is not necessarily good. Not flattering. Yeah, you know, but you know what it is? Barry could get away with whatever he wanted because he was the funniest guy, you know. He could, whatever he said, it didn't ever come off insulting. It came off funny. He just had that gift. Yeah, he didn't go there, Troy. He just did that tomorrow, tomorrow. Yeah, well, Mauri, if you don't have pelo en la lengua, that comes with the territory. 1993, Doc? Yeah, Little Havana was still Little Havana then. A lot of fun. A lot of mojitos, a lot of dancing, a lot of music. It was fun. I would love to see it come back. Exactly, Alma. Exactly. And he was the second one. He would be like, I remember I got a haircut, and it was a bad haircut, and I knew it was a bad haircut. And I got to work, and my cube was right next to his, so I couldn't get away from him. And I sat down in my chair, and I started working, and he was typing away or whatever, and all of a sudden his typing just stopped. And I could feel his eyes boring into my back. And I refused. And he goes, girl, you need to turn around. And I turned around. And he just had these big old bug eyes staring at me. What'd they do to your hair? I said, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. He's like, But he would tell you, if you wanted an honest opinion, you had to go to him. And he would give you an honest opinion. And he would at least, season it with humor so it didn't sting so bad. But it was going to be honest. Are you asking Doc or are you asking me, Mauri? Because Coconut Grove, oh yeah. I mean, golly. Oh yes, Alma. A gay black man who had no shame in saying anything to anyone. He was so bad that he would be on the phone with clients and hit mute and start talking all this smack about the people on the phone, and then without missing a beat, he would unmute and he'd be like, yes, I understand. I would die laughing. And I'm like, one day that mute button is going to fail you. And it never did. He's working somewhere else now, but it never failed him. He would just do it with such impeccable timing. He's like, yes, absolutely. I totally understand. You stupid blah, 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 blah. And I'm absolutely certain we can get that fixed for you. And I would be like, dude, you're crazy. You had a coworker like that too, Alma? Yeah, man. Oh my gosh. That's what I told him, Mauri. I said, it's going to fail you. And he said, it never did. And as far as I know, it never did. He got away with it. And the only time I ever did anything that was like slightly off color or whatever at work was we had this new girl that they brought in, and I was still doing like actual payroll at the time. And oh my gosh, it was just the time of year where you'd rather be out shoveling poop than doing it. I mean, it was just such a bad time. So we're there typing. They're going around, the managers introducing the new person to everybody. Oh, I want you to meet so-and-so. They're the newest member of our team. And so everybody would say, oh, it's so nice to meet you. Welcome, blah, 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 blah. And I was feeling that day, oh my gosh. And I had a letter opener on my desk. And when my boss came behind me with the new girl, and she said, she's like, Ruth, I'd like you to meet so-and-so. I grabbed the letter opener and turned around and said, welcome to Thunderdome, bitch. Pardon my French, but that's what I said. And this girl's eyes were like, what? And everybody around me was dying laughing because we all felt the same way. Like, we're dying over here, and you're coming around asking us to put a smile on our face. Welcome to the most beautiful place on earth. The place is crazy. Run away. Oh, man. But my boss actually, like, after the initial shock, she's like, oh, you know, Ruthy and her sense of humor. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not laughing. But me and that girl became really good friends after. She's like, you were the only one that told the truth. I'm like, hey, keeping it real. Oh my gosh. Welcome to Thunderdome. And I remember because even Barry was civilized. And when I did that, his eyes were like, oh my gosh. She's gone round the bend. They finally broke her. And I had one client that made me cry every single day. This lady would call and just cuss me out and scream and shout until I cried. She was just mean. And then one day I just told her, I can't take it no more. You know, I just told her, I'm done with you. Because she was very profane. Like, she was one of these ladies that just loved to use every word in the book. I mean, it's like she was really proud of it. And I was always, you know, being who I am, I would keep it clean. And then one day I just lost it. I said, I'm so sick and tired of this shit. I told her, I'm so sick and tired of it. And she's like, there you go. And after that, she was the best person. No, Mowdy, stop. This lady was seriously off color. But she just wanted to hear me cuss. Apparently, all that torture was because she wanted me to say one day that I was tired of this shit. And when I said it, she finally was nice to me. And she was so nice to me, as a matter of fact, that when I was promoted, she told my boss she was threatening to leave unless I continued to do her payroll in my new position. I was like, are you serious? This woman who had it out for me now is like my most loyal person? But it's funny that way. People are funny. Yeah, it was more like working 8:30 to 5:30. And one time we had a hurricane coming. And there was no... it was like the storm with no name. I can't remember what year that was. But it was the year that it turned out. It was a tropical, very powerful tropical storm. And it turned into a hurricane, Cat 1, just as it made landfall. And we were still at the office. And the general manager, you know, the boss's boss, was just walking around the floor. And we're all going, we need to leave. We need to leave. You know, as the weather got worse and worse and started deteriorating. No, of course not, Mowdy. This was a no-name storm. And they said, you know, we kept telling him, this looks really bad. This looks really bad. He's like, that's fine. We're tough. We can handle it or whatever. So finally, yeah, Troy, that was what it was. And so we headed out. You know, everybody left at the regular time. And we are literally driving through a Cat 1 hurricane to get home. I remember that the water was so deep that when I finally got home to my driveway, that I turned to go, like, to turn into my driveway, and my car literally floated up and then boom, landed on the driveway. And I was like, oh my gosh, my car's going to float away. I ran into the house, and I waited about another hour or so when I felt like the winds were finally dying down, and I looked out, and I had one of those concrete mailboxes that it has a planter, and then it has this, like, swan neck, and then the mailbox, and there were waves, like white caps of waves going over the mailbox. That's how deep the water was. I was like, this is crazy. I can't believe they made us stay so late. Do you remember it, Mowdy, now? I can't remember what year that was. That had to have been 99, 2000. No, it couldn't have been. It had to be 2004. Por ahí. 2002, no, maybe 3 or 4. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I had so many friends of mine that their cars were ruined trying to get home. Okay, bye, Stingray. I'm wrapping this up, dude. I'm exhausted. It's 2.5 hours. It's crazy. Good night, honey. But yes, Mouty, you remember it. There was no name for it because it was a tropical storm, or it was like something happened where it was like at the last minute it actually became something. And it was like too late. It was already here. And everybody was floating around. It brought a ton of water. A ton. Like more than I've ever seen. And then my mom was like, oh my gosh, Brian's on too. Well, you could just, you're fine, babe. I'm telling you, I'm going to wrap this up in the next two or 3 minutes. Because I'm wiped. I know, my gosh. K-Dog can hold the title. What's funny though is if I was on the other side, if I was doing the typing, I'd be like, yeah. But I couldn't. I say son of a biscuit eater. But yeah, when Mark went on and I saw it was 8 minutes. First he did a video and said he was gonna be late. And I said, all right. And then he said 8 minutes. I'm like, 8 minutes? Come on now. Don't you know we're talkers? We like to chit chat and it's our only chance to get together. Good night, Brian. Me too, Alma. I've had so much fun. It's like this is the best Friday night. And I didn't even intend to go live, but I'm so glad I did because I feel like this is what I needed to pep up my spirits to get ready for next week. He did, Alma. He sure did. He has to work in the morning, I mean. But yes, I didn't realize how badly I needed a nice hangout session with you guys. But, right? No, don't be lazy, Mouty. Go live. Or Alma, you go live. That it's only, what, 9 o'clock over there. Or 10 o'clock. Oh, I love that show, Doc. You know, Netflix has like a bunch of the old episodes. Thanks, Troy. I like sharing them. That's why people say I gotta write it down. Me too, Alma. I just wish we were in person so we could, you know, I could make cafe, we could chit-chat, I could make some food. Yeah, Doc, what channel's that on? I'm looking. Even though I have DirecTV and I have no idea what Stingray has. 108. Let me look. Oh my gosh, why don't I put in the numbers? No. Sometimes I think I'm deficient. No, I ain't got that. No, I don't even know where it is either, Stingray. Let me do a quick search before I wrap this up. And I'll tell you. And I'll tell you if I can find it. TWIG. No, not G. What am I doing? Delete. Twilight Zone. Hold on. Let's see where it's at. Huh. It says ours doesn't come on till 8 a.m., so I don't know. But I can tell you the channel that plays it is Sci-Fi. Yeah, Sci-Fi has it, but it doesn't start until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. I think they're running a marathon of the old ones. But Netflix has them. They have the good ones, too. They have the one with Shatner on the plane, and they have the one with the people are the pig faces. Mowdy is so funny. I know, that would be fun, Alma. That would be fun. I just did a search with DirecTV, and they said the soonest episode is tomorrow at 8 a.m. on Sci-Fi. And then on Monday at 6 a.m. All right, guys. Almost 12:30. I know, I don't know either, Alma. Maori, you need to figure that out. The Google Hangout thing. Stingray, you don't have Netflix? $999. Let me hit exit. Me TV. Well then, Maori, why haven't you hosted one? What do you mean you've done Google Hangouts a bunch of times? I was never invited. ¿Qué pasó? Did I offend? Do I offend? Ooh, Outer Limits is good too. And Stingray, if you have Netflix, you would love that Black Mirror series. That's like a Twilight Zone type thing too. What do you mean, Maori? We don't care if she's yelling at you. Hey Doc, MS3TK, the reboot is on Netflix. Dale. That's what I want to hear, Maori. I want to learn how to do it. That would be fun. Bueno, you guys, I'm not gonna be able to live stream for at least another week. Maybe next Friday, because I'm supposed to be able to leave there Friday at noon. So I should be home next Friday night. No, Maori, it's never embarrassing when moms yell at you. The older you get, the funnier it gets. Trust me. My mom yells at me and I find it hysterical. Enjoy it while you can. That's all I gotta say. Yes, exactly, Stingray. You guys show up in your Speedos thong style. And we will watch, and we'll buy a bunch of French cantaloupes to throw at you. Yeah, you get Netflix. Try that Black Mirror show. You don't have to even watch them in order. You can just pick any season, any episode. They're like Twilight Zone. I don't know. I couldn't answer that, Sting. To me, it's all the same. Just like, to me, Netflix is just a different channel. Popcorn and donuts and meatball subs. All right, Alma, that sounds good too. Wait till the ready sheddy is ready. All right, guys. I am literally hanging. It's 12:30. Tengo que colgar el teléfono. I love you guys very, very much. And thank you for the prayers. You know me with my, oh my gosh, I got to take that long drive in the rain. So just pray I get there safely and get back home safely. And that's the best gift any of you guys can give me. So I will check you all out tomorrow. Tomorrow. Much love around the globe. Blessings and love. Good night, my friends.